All right, let's talk about something that's driving sales leaders crazy everywhere. There's this massive, nagging problem where even with all the fancy tech and endless training, a ton of sales teams just keep missing their goals. In this explainer, we're going to unpack the 3 hidden reasons why this happens over and over. And, it's probably not what you think.
So let's just get right to it. This is the big question, the one that keeps people up at night. Why is it that every single year, more than half of all salespeople fail to hit their number? I mean, it's the one thing everyone's supposed to be focused on, but for so many, it just seems out of reach. What are we all missing here?
Yeah, that number is pretty stark when you think about it. Up to 55% of salespeople don't hit their annual goal. That's more than half the team. So it's really no surprise that a CSO Insight study found that for a whopping 87% of senior sales leaders, getting more people to hit their quota is their absolute #1 priority. The pressure is definitely on.
So where does it all go wrong? Well, we've kind of boiled it down to 3 big problems. And the first one might actually surprise you, because it's something companies have poured millions of dollars into. And that's our technology, specifically our CRMs.
And, the promise was amazing, wasn't it? For the last decade or so, organizations have been spending fortunes on these massive CRM systems, and they all had the same expectation. This investment is going to directly drive more revenue. It was supposed to be the ultimate cheat code for sales success.
But the reality? It's pretty brutal. According to that same study from CSO Insights, an unbelievable 74% of sales organizations say they have poor CRM adoption. So when you ask sales leaders, hey, is your CRM actually driving sales behavior? 9 times out of 10, you get a flat no. The tool is there, but it's just not doing the job everyone paid for.
And this is where this quote just hits the nail on the head. Neil Rackham, the legend who wrote Spin Selling, absolutely nailed it. Look, it's not that CRMs are bad. They're obviously essential. The real problem is when we don't recognize what they can't do. A CRM is a database. It's not a magic wand that automatically improves performance.
All right, so that's problem number 1. Now for the second big issue, and this one shifts from technology over to people. It's about the most critical person for any team's performance, a person who, for some reason, is consistently overlooked, the sales manager.
And you can see this huge imbalance right here. Companies will spend millions training their frontline salespeople, product training, methodology training, you name it. But what about their managers? So often they're just left to sink or swim, drowning in a sea of dashboards and reports.
Jason Jordan talks about this exact thing in his book. And this neglect is so damaging because managers end up with all this data, but they have no clear, actionable way to see what their people are actually doing every day. They can't coach what they can't see.
Okay, and this brings us to the third, and maybe the biggest, roadblock of all. This isn't really about the tools or even the people. It's about the entire mindset we use to manage performance. The core problem is that most sales organizations are trying to drive forward while staring straight into the rearview mirror.
Let me break it down. On one side, you've got trailing indicators. This is just history. It's asking questions like, how did we do? Or how do we stack up against last year? Then on the other side, you have leading indicators, which are all about the future. It's asking, what are we going to do today to make sure we hit our goal next quarter? The problem is, most sales cultures are completely obsessed with the stuff on the left.
I heard a story once that just makes this so painfully clear. A sales leader said his boss would call him at the end of every month, panicking, and ask this exact question: what are you going to do to save the month? But here's the honest truth. By the time you're asking that question, it is way too late. That month was lost weeks, maybe even months ago.
So, okay, we've got our broken tech promises, our overlooked managers, and this obsession with the past. So what do we do about it? Well, it all starts with a huge shift, a shift away from history lessons and toward future action.
I mean, it sounds almost too simple, but it's everything. You can't change what's already happened. All those reports about last quarter's numbers, they're just history. They might be interesting, but you can't do a thing to change them. The only thing we can ever influence is what happens next.
And see, this is how it all connects, right? You've got CRM data that's just sitting there, not driving any future behavior. You've got managers who are buried under reports about what's already done. And you have an entire company culture that's focused on judging the past. It's all reactive.
And this is where the solution really comes into focus. The single best tool we can give our teams isn't another dashboard showing last month's results. It's an actionable pipeline.
A super clear view of the right activities that need to happen today and tomorrow to guarantee that future success. It's about managing the cause, not just measuring the effect.
So I want to leave you with this one final question to think about for your own team. Take a really honest look at your sales meetings, your one-on-ones, your reports. Are you spending all your time analyzing what already happened, or are you actively building the future? Is your team trying to drive forward while looking in the rearview mirror?